We have a new sponsor and an old friend joining Envy Pillow here, Sierra Sil. With 2 rare patents and a money-back guarantee, Sierra Sil, available at Shoppers Drug Mart, London Drugs and Health Food stores, is the natural mineral joint pain remedy you need. Go to sierrasil.com, SIERRASIL.com, and use the code GF for 10% off.
Hello and welcome to episode 47 of Gracefully and Frankly. I'm Lisa Brandt.
And I'm Erin Davis. It's good to have you along for this episode. We're going to have lots of laughs. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, too. Lisa getting caught being the punctuation police. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
I know, you should be.
Also, why vertigo isn't what you might think it is. There's a lot of misinformation about it, and having just experienced it, I can tell you exactly what it is, I hope.
Oh, God. Health or wealth? Which is more important? Which would you rather have? It seems like a no-brainer, but as with all things, there's a gray area, and we're going to explore that.
And a little bit about some corporate restructuring that's going on, the ways companies can justify everything from high prices to why they're going bankrupt, but they'll be back.
Yeah, skirting responsibilities. And skirting with a label. Nygaard talking about that as well. So we've got a whole bunch ahead. There is one label that we do love to see, but our eyes are closed, so we can't. You just have to take their word for it. It's envy, and it's embroidered right there on your beautiful pillow.
Envy, ENVY, is the only pillow I will ever need. But I was thinking about this the other day, how many times I go into a store or I need something or whatever, and I think my first inclination is to get something cheap. And then I stop and I say to myself, what am I doing? I have earned something better. Thankfully, I can afford it in many cases. So I should treat myself better and treat myself to something that is better. Like instead of some cheap little thin pillow you get at the store where you're shopping for your groceries or whatever, and you see a big stack of pillows.
Right.
That's not going to be good for you, and you're worth more.
Right.
And Envy is the only anti-aging pillow with neck support and germ-killing copper in it. Now that I use a stupid CPAP, it's wonderful with the CPAP because it keeps your head sort of up, but it doesn't squish your face and make the mask go all over the place. There's just so many reasons to check it out. No matter how you sleep, go to envypillow.com, ENVYpillow.com, and any purchase you make, you can get 10% off with the code GF for Gracefully, Frankly.
Lovely. So I guess the holiday season really is upon us. You were spotted trying to change a sign somewhere. Oh my God, you are so my soul sister.
So we're at this Christmas market. One of the reasons we went is because a friend does carvings and we wanted to go show some support. And there's a woman with a beautiful display. She takes chandeliers and takes apart the crystals and makes little angels out of them.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really neat because it's repurposing, but they're beautiful. They were really nice. So I wanted to go look, and I noticed she had a sign that said angels with an apostrophe in it. So I leaned up closely to the sign and put my little finger out, hoping no one would see me, and tried to scratch the little apostrophe out. And she came over and said, hi. And I realized that however this sign was made, I wasn't able to get at the marker, so I couldn't make a change. And she just sort of said hi to me and then stood there with a look on her face like, what are you doing? And I said, oh, I was just trying to remove the apostrophe. It doesn't need to be there. Oh, these angels are beautiful. And because I don't like to walk up to somebody and say, you don't know. You shouldn't have had this here. And I thought, oh, I'll just change it. Then I looked around. She had 4 more signs. So,
oh no,
I was out of luck, but I bought an angel. So there you go.
Is there a possibility that her name was Angel and the store was hers, therefore angels?
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
No, she was just,
crap.
It was a price list for angels and she had the apostrophe in it. Anyway, it's just my thing, but I was gentle. I wish I could correct the world on the apostrophe, but it's not going to happen. And the other one that's driving me nuts is sneak peek.
What? Oh, yeah.
People are writing SNEAK, for goodness sake. And it's not. It's 2 E's.
Yes, but not on the first one.
And then there's the Santa Claus.
Oh, my God. I know. Don't get us started on Santa Claus because of the movie with Tim Allen. Clause meant,
yes,
a part of a contract. And of course, now people, but in defense of the people who put an E on the end of clause with Santa Claus, that could well be spell check. That can be stuff that you just put out there and it's gone before you go, oh no, there's no E on that. And, it's like daylight savings. There's no S on the savings except the one at the front. But, these aren't hills worth dying on.
It's the same with the apostrophe, Erin. I have found that spell check constantly wants to change it to IT apostrophe S, even when it's supposed to be ITS. So, people get a pass on that by thinking, well, Grammarly knows or whatever it is they're using. And as it turns out, it doesn't. So
I know. This is just our tick, and it's not us saying we're smarter than anybody else. It's just
no.
Our tick. So you felt suitably embarrassed and chagrined, and you bought an angel. And I can't wait to see it. Will you post it, please, at our Gracefully and Frankly Facebook page?
Okay. I was going to give it to somebody, and I'm not sure who yet. But if they're on the page and they like it, well, they might get it. We'll see.
Okay.
I bought it to give away. We're going to different Christmas events, and I like to take something to eat and then something else. And so I thought this little angel would be nice, but we'll see.
That reminds me of a dinner invitation we had last week, and it was 3 couples. And the host was adamant that no one was to bring a gift or anything except what they were going to drink. And so, Rob and I both don't imbibe when we go out. Well, I don't at all. And he hardly ever does. So in defiance or ignorance or whatever of her request, we took a bottle of wine. And I also had found this beautiful little appetizer tray, which just happened to match her dishes perfectly. So I took that. And then I wrapped it, put it in a gift bag, and put it in one of her spare bedrooms. And I called her over later and I said, Kath, I know you said no gifts, but it goes with your dishes. And so I'm going to disobey you. And she was thrilled. But you never want to put people on the spot. And it reminds me, too, you're not supposed to bring fresh cut flowers when you go to somebody's house because it takes the host or hostess away from whatever it is they're trying to do, right?
Right. You're bringing to mind the time I went to a birthday party for a couple. They were both turning a major birthday, and they said no gifts. And I always just go with that when somebody says no gifts. And we were the only ones who came without a gift.
Oh,
because they said no gifts. We don't want any gifts. And so we looked at each other and went, they said no gifts. But we were the only ones who showed up without a gift. And so, people. We look like idiots, and yet I thought we were following what the host wanted.
You're right, though, Lisa. You obeyed the rules. You adhered to the request of the hosts, and you did what was right. And that's why I took the gift into another room. I didn't want to embarrass the other couple or potentially have them say, wait a minute, they said no gifts and we didn't bring anything. Now we're so you're right.
It's hard to feel right when there are 30 couples there and they've all brought something and you're the only ones who haven't. So it was, it's like you can't just stand there on your ceremony and say, hey, the invitation said no gifts. Yeah, stand there embarrassed and eat dip. And
you're all wrong. Derek and I are right. Gee, you brought up an interesting topic on voiceoflisabrandt.com on your blog. By the way, when we're editing this thing, I've realized something, and we've got to correct this. And this is a little behind the scenes thing.
What?
Whenever you or I talk about either one of our book titles or our websites, all of a sudden we talk very quietly like that. I see it in the levels, and it's like, damn it, we're embarrassed to be mentioning what we're working on or our projects or anything about ourselves. Like you'll go, as I mentioned on my blog, voiceoflisabrandt.com. It's like, no, don't do that. Say it loud and proud so everybody hears it.
That's funny.
You and I think we're both reluctant to toot our horns. And you and I will toot each other's horns completely and loudly. But if we don't do it, who else is going to do it? Right?
That's an interesting phenomenon that I didn't even know was happening. Voiceoflisabrant.com.
I should put an echo on that. I might.
Voiceoflisabrant.com.
So, your blog this week, you've opened up the door to something I wasn't sure you wanted to talk about yet. And I'm grateful you are, but I'm horrified you're going through this. But you're going to enlighten us because you always do. When it's something happens to one of us,
right,
we only tell about it if it could help somebody else or to make fun of ourselves. It's certainly the former and not the latter in this case. So,
well, I developed vertigo out of the blue, and I didn't really know how vertigo felt. It had been a long, long time. I guess I had it about 30 years ago after being at Universal Studios in Florida, where all the rides shake you. So what happens physically is these little crystals that are in your inner ear come out, and you need to get them back in and all that kind of thing. I'm not a doctor, and that's one cause of vertigo. There are many others. Please see your doctor if you are experiencing vertigo. I just woke up with it, and it's like you don't know which end is up. It's not dizziness. It's much, much worse than that. I was sick to my stomach from it. I don't even know how to describe. The world is turning, and you can't figure out which way is up. It's happened to people while they're driving.
Ooh.
It's horrible. And you just lay there thinking, oh, please stop. So it continued for most of the week, just here and there. It wasn't constant. If I moved too much, or if I turned on my left side, or I finally figured out when it would get triggered. And as it turns out, a friend of mine, Jennifer, has had it at the same time as me.
Oh.
And she said there's these maneuvers. My brother had mentioned this to me too, because he gets it with an illness that he has, a chronic thing. And he said there's a series of movements you can do that can correct it if it puts the crystals back where they're supposed to be. And I mean, it sounds goofy, but apparently it's true. So I found it on the Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, WebMD, all these very reputable websites. And I did it maybe 3 times, and I haven't had an episode since. So I've been doing it a couple times a day since then, just to make darn sure. And it seems to have corrected it. It's called the Epley maneuver. It's super simple. Epley. Some say you should only do it with a doctor. I couldn't get in to see my doctor. She's been doing something for the last couple of weeks. So I just did it on my own. And you have to be careful, but it worked. Kooky, huh? If you just Googled vertigo movement, it would come up. It's very famous. This doctor, I think he was from Cleveland. You know, he was told he was an idiot when he came up with this. He had to do all these scientific studies. He only died a few years ago, and now he's sort of a hero when it comes to correcting vertigo.
Lisa, I think a lot of us have the wrong idea about what vertigo is. I mean, to me, it's a Hitchcock movie, and it's something akin to getting dizzy when you're at heights, but that is so not it. Am I correct?
Well, when I'm a little bit afraid of heights, and when I get up at a very high, like even in the CN Tower or whatever, you get this unsteady feeling like the weird thing is my brain says, jump, I can't stand this anymore. Ooh. You know, that's what some people feel like. I just got to jump. I can't stand this feeling. But thankfully we don't. And that's not vertigo. With vertigo, it's like I was lying on my back, and the ceiling fan that I was looking up at was flipping past me as if you're flipping pages.
Ooh.
And whatever I looked at was flipping that way. And so you couldn't tell which end was up. So I put my leg off the mattress to get up and just immediately fell right over. You just can't discern which end is up. So if you want another type of explanation, you know, when John F. Kennedy Jr. died in that plane, he lost where the horizon was. And this is what happens with vertigo. You have no idea which side is up, where the tangible thing is that you're trying to hold on to because it keeps moving, and there's like 7 of them. It's like motion sickness on steroids.
Wow.
I was feeling better when we went to the Christmas market. I was feeling a lot better, so we went out for the day. I got so car sick, I didn't know how we were going to get me home.
Ooh.
Because it sort of came back. Yeah. You know, it can linger a while. The crystal thing is so weird because I'd never heard of it before. It's like, how can I only be learning about this in my body at this point?
Right.
You know?
Everything is an echo of something that you've done, right? You get to this point in your life, in our 7th decade, I guess, because we're in our 60s, and something will always come back to bite you in the butt.
Do you have any butt biters like that? What's your butt biter?
Nothing so far, but I mean, there were years when I was not good to my body and yo-yo dieting and not a good cellist, by the way. Yo-yo Ma is far superior. Yo-yo dieting and all of the other things, the drinking, the smoking. So yeah, I'm okay. I don't have any of those things. Oh, I know what I did.
What?
I had surgery on my eyes back before laser was 100% big, and mine was called radial keratotomy. And there was this guy who advertised on CHFI, and so, I believed him. And a lot of people went to him, and what they do is they take a scalpel, 4 little nicks in your eye, and now I'm told I'm very lucky to have my eyesight. My sister Cindy, who had it first, she has lupus and should never have had this procedure. Yeah, so that is my bite you in the ass moment. That's my thing because I trusted and went into it. And there have been stories about him in the Star in more recent years talking about people who've had problems or have sued or whatever. But yeah, I have been lucky. I wanted to have laser surgery to correct my vision in more recent years. And they said, no, we're not touching those eyes. And I go, okay, that's fine. I'll wear my glasses.
Oh, wow. Something I'm very grateful for is that this vertigo didn't happen when we were in Italy. And I would have to try and go on some tour or endure the 35-degree weather or whatever. I could just lay here all week if I wanted to. And I basically did. So
wow.
If it had to happen, the timing was pretty good. And in the big scheme of things, it's not that big a deal.
Well, it is big.
I put seatbelts on the couches.
Good idea.
Derek's put padding and bubble wrap all over the house, and so we're okay.
Well, you bring up bubble wrap, but this was one of our very early episodes in 2023. Was Derek saying you should be in bubble wrap? Was this an early sign? You're prone to accidents and those things that happened. No, Lisa, could they actually have a reason now?
Well, this is what we suspect, but I don't know for sure. I had an MRI. It was like my doctor liked to say, it showed nothing.
Yay!
And so there's nothing. I don't have a tumor. I don't have anything weird going on there. So unless it was just a progression of whatever was going on with the inner ear and this is it coming to fruition, I don't know. But you're right. I was having some issues with falling, and it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that it's all connected. But I just don't know. I don't know.
Okay, before we started into that segment, I was, mentioning Lisa's blog at voiceoflisabrandt.com. And the thread in it was, which is better to have, which is more valuable, health or wealth? And you were actually having a dream where you were arguing this with someone, but that became sort of the door opener to talk about your vertigo and stuff. And of course, we both come down on the side of health. Health is everything, right?
If you don't have health, how can you spend your wealth? I mean, in sort of a long-term look at life, wealth is fantastic to supplement your health. There's just so many different ways, but I think it comes down to health.
I think you're right. And we only have to look at Steve Jobs. All the money in the world, all the access to doctors. He still decided he was going to go his own way with his pancreatic cancer treatment, and that may have hastened his demise, or who knows. But dear Alex Trebek, who's been gone now, I think 3 years this month, all the money, all the resources, all the everybody who loved him, all the thoughts and prayers, and it still took him. So yeah, wealth. However, you can, I'll stand up for wealth here for 1 second, because if you have the money to buy the proper food, the proper supplements, the things that will hopefully stave off some of the health problems down the road, you may not be as susceptible to the things that cause earlier deaths and more frequent illness and stuff. So wealth can help you stay healthier longer, But in the end, it is health that's everything. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Somebody on my blog, did I mention it's voiceoflisabrandt.com?
I think so.
But somebody said that there's such a gap growing between the wealthy and the poor, that the wealthy do have access to different things. I mean, I would love to get one of those full body scan things where they just look at everything and say, you know, you've got whatever. Or I did a little bit of that with 23andMe. They do some DNA testing and find out whether you have the breast cancer gene and whether you have everything else. And it's all come back clean. But I would love to do one of those full body things. But again, that's expensive. And
remember, Oprah did that on her show. She talked about having had the full body scan. She was my mentor in my 30s and 40s. And I thought, oh, that would be great to see. Now, we did something like that there was a big clinic, there still is, in downtown Toronto that a lot of executives go to. And so Rob and I just decided, okay, we're going to do the outlay. Let's see what kind of shape we're in. They gave us all of this information about genes and about which arteries are almost closed, or, you know, there's not any, thankfully, but there's something in my neck that if I don't control my cholesterol, it'll be trouble. But who knows, maybe at the age of 85. So we have literally a binder full of information about our bodies to pass on to our daughter. Oh. And guess what?
Oh,
I know.
Oh.
So we haven't opened it, but we may sort of peruse it to let Colin know what he's susceptible to and the things that come through our genes and our lines. So that's my story about that whole thing. So I did that, but I would love to do that full body scan. That would be cool. But right now we're talking about people who can't even get into a doctor for vertigo like you. So that's all blue sky stuff unless you head south of the border and pay for it. And I don't think we're going to do that.
Right. And people, I think, in general, are more concerned about being able to buy fresh food right now than they are about having this scan done. I mean, it's just everything's been so out of control price-wise. The other day I went into a grocery store I'd never been in before. And it was one of those basics stores.
Mm-hmm.
And got chicken breasts for about half of what I've been paying for them.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, why am I not going there all the time? Now, there were 2 packages left in this giant cooler, and I took them both. But I don't think I've been creative enough about some of that stuff. And I know people are having to be. So
that is good to know. But here's the question. If the price of paying cashiers is part of what's making food prices go up, and we know that inflation is worldwide, it's not just Canada or the United States or our governments or stuff like that. It's worldwide. But if paying cashiers a decent wage would make the price of groceries go up, why aren't all the self-checkouts making the price of groceries go down? There is such a disconnect in either the message or the logic here. I don't quite understand it.
You're making sense. You're making sense, and that's the problem. It's true because, well, this is what these corporations always say. Oh, it's rising costs. It's all the rising costs that we have to deal with. So if I have a rising cost in my little business, I suck it up. I don't turn around and say, you're going to pay me 30% more because I'm having to deal with a rising cost. I look at other ways to increase my business. I look at other ways to save money. I do other things. I don't turn around and say, I'm going to stop paying for that thing or that person to help me. This whole attitude, the way they handle it, is such absolute bullshit. And it's just that they want to maintain that high profit. The whole thing just makes me crazy. It's like, you know what? Sometimes you have a down year. Suck it up, Buttercup, while you're on your yacht, No,
I completely get that. It is the disappearance of the middle class, and it all started back in the 80s with Reaganomics, where there will be trickle-down wealth. The rich will trickle down. Well, you know what? It doesn't trickle down. They freaking build rockets. That's what's happening with the wealth, and it's just, it is the way it is. And that's why we're seeing unions becoming so much more powerful again. And if that means that families can afford to put food on the table or put food on their families, as W so famously put it, then good.
Well, look at Bad Boy, okay? So Bad Boy has filed for bankruptcy. This is not the first time. It actually went out of business 20 years after it opened. Blaine Lastman, Mel Lastman's son, bought Bad Boy. What is it? Appliances, I guess. And so now they've filed for bankruptcy. They're going to restructure. They're going to sell off all of their inventory to try to keep the business going. People who have deposits and they put it on a credit card have to go to their credit card company to get it back because Bad Boy's not giving it back. So they are just saying, screw it to all of our debts. We file for bankruptcy and then we come back in a different form. And I just can't.
Well, okay. My eyes kind of glaze over when people get into filing to file for bankruptcy protection and all that kind of stuff because I don't understand any of it. But what does this mean to the customer? I saw a headline about a guy who had a $1,600 or $6,000 credit at Bad Boy.
Yep.
And it's worthless.
It vanishes. They have about $25 million in assets, according to their Superior Court of Justice filings. $26 million is what they owe. So that's where it comes in. So they say, hey, we're going bankrupt. All of those debts that we have are either wiped off or we sell all the inventory and pay you cents on the dollar, and then we get somebody to finance us coming back. This is what I understand from several news reports on your CP24s, your CTVs, all those kinds of things, is that because of the challenges of sourcing inventory, because we do know there are still supply chain issues from COVID-19.
Oh, yeah.
But come on. I don't know why anybody would ever go back to them if they open up again, which these experts in economics are saying that's what they're planning to do. So I wouldn't do it.
Well, I'll feed you the obvious line here. Who should shop with them again? Nobody. Another very famous name, designer, retailer, and now convicted sex offender, Peter Nygaard.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not surprising for anybody who's been following the story of this designer. Boy, when you read some of the stuff that he was up to with the locking doors and the hidden locks and all that kind of stuff, just like serial predator, it sounds like. Holy Moses.
I used to love Nygaard clothing, and the last time I saw it anywhere was at a market, and the woman had it literally in a trunk. It was kind of a trunk show. So this would have been maybe 2019, 2020, something like that. And I don't even know if it was still in stores yet because they went under in 2020 after he was charged. And I bought a couple pieces from her, and now I'm thinking it's not obvious that it's Nygaard clothing, but I know it's Nygaard clothing, and I think I'm going to divest myself of it. It's hard to know where that line is. Okay, my clothing came from a company run by a sexual predator. Does that matter? Well, it does matter to me. So I think I'm going to get rid of it.
I think we don't consider ethically sourced clothing and the labels and where things are made very carefully, most of us. But when it is that in your face, you hurt a woman, you hurt all of us.
Right.
And we believe her and her and her and her and her. If I'm you, what I could do is cut out the labels and then send them off to the thrift store because somebody is going to enjoy that.
That's a very good idea.
There's nothing emblazoned on it that says Nygaard or anything on the outside, so somebody can wear it. And there will be some people who don't care and don't know his name from Adam.
Right. That's a good idea to cut the labels out, and I will do that. I only have maybe 3 or 4 things left. And then there's Bianca Nygaard, his daughter, who had her own stuff. So, but no, this is Peter Nygaard. So bye-bye. Out you go. I'll wear as my mom used to say, I'll wear a brand sack before I put that on again. Never did see her in a brand sack, but anyway.
What's a brand sack?
I know.
Probably had flour in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows? Well, I wish I was seeing you in person during my whirlwind trip to Toronto as you're listening to this. And thank you for listening to. See, I went low there. And thank you for. I'm going to do a live pickup here.
Thank you for listening.
That's right. To Gracefully and for Rankly. Okay, so.
Well, it wasn't for a lack of trying, Erin. We did try to merge something, but it just didn't work out. So that's okay.
We'll get together by a pool in January, which honestly sounds a lot better anyway. Okay. So as you're listening to this.
Speaking of which, at least there's no snow in the forecast when you're coming, because we had some on the ground not that long ago. So yay.
I'm grateful for that. I wasn't going to be driving anywhere anyway. I'll be taking the Up Express from the airport to my hotel and then having coffee and lunch today with our dear friend and former producer Ian MacArthur. And then tomorrow is my gig at Delta Convention Center Hotel, and it's for Excellence Canada. God, I love emceeing, and I really wish I was doing more of it, but we'll see, maybe in 2024.
Do you miss snow living in Victoria, BC?
Well, no. Hard no. Hard no. Actually, you know who does? Our daughter-in-law, Brooke, really gets a Jones for snow. And we've had the odd snowstorm. And I think we had snow for Christmas last year. And then it goes away. And then it comes back and then it goes away. So much so that thanks to climate change, my husband, Rob, has gone halfers with a neighbor on a snowblower. So we do our elderly neighbors and we plow each other's driveways. We, again, Rob. So, yeah, we have enough snow, but no, I don't miss it, Lisa. I mean, it's pretty. It's so pretty. And walking when it's snowing is so beautiful, but it's the driving. It's the mess. It's the other people who can't drive in the snow and maybe on bare roads for all I know. But yeah, and the airport delays and all that kind of stuff. So no, I don't miss it. Thanks for asking.
There's supposed to be more this season, so I'm not a fan. I've had enough. I would be happy to leave it behind, but Derek likes the seasons. So that's not going to happen, but so it goes.
Hey, you said there's supposed to be more this season. Well, of course there is. It's only November, but do you mean more in terms of accumulation? Like there's going to be a higher volume?
Yes, a higher volume for most places that tend to get it. And California is supposed to be colder and wetter than usual too. So places in winter that don't get snow are supposed to be getting more rain.
Oh, well, that's okay. California is not in a drought situation for the first time in 5 years. So we'll take a bit of rain. It's cold and it's damp, but that's why the lady is a tramp. All right, we're going to wrap it up for now, and we'll be back together next week, of course. Thanks to Envy Pillow. Thanks to you, Lisa. Again, sorry I'm missing you this week, but I'll be following you at Voice of Lisa Brand.
Stop. I feel a boycott coming on.
No, I would like a check. That's all. Not a boycott, a check. Bye for now.
Bye.